everyone. I am here with the final author of 24 Hour Authors in 12 Hours, super long marathon edition today, and I'm here with Kate Aukes. And Kate wrote the book Lingering Shadows. It is posted on my feed. We'll be talking about it some. I'm also going to be posting the link there you can purchase this book on Amazon. So, welcome, Kate. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Nope. I'm not sure if it's my internet or what just happened, but you just cut back in.
Okay, Kate, can you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit to the audience? And Kate. Kate, can you hear me? Huh. It's always the last one.
Put some of that into this. This and everything that I write comes with a little bit of that background in psych. Definitely.
Great. So, can you share a little bit about what gave you the inspiration to go ahead and write a novel? I mean, that's a pretty incredible task.
Absolutely. So it definitely takes a lot of work. I didn't anticipate that. But what really kind of inspired me is I have always had a love for reading. So I have been a reader from a young age and started thinking probably about in my junior high years, so 12, 13 years old, that it might be kind of cool to be somebody that wrote something like that someday. I've started and stopped probably 15, 20 times. But with this one particularly, what I ended up doing was, so my sister's in nursing school, and I went to sit with her she was doing homework, and I just kind of wrote just as a stream of consciousness kind of thing. And I wrote this nightmare sequence that I then put away and probably didn't touch for about another year. Well, I ended up in 2023 getting sick enough to the point I was out of work for about a year. So I took that time to try to do something productive. Picked up from there, and it became a book, and I was just blown away by what a little bit of time and a little bit of dedication got me past start instead of starting and stopping like I had in the past. So
Great. So, on your writing process, which we've kind of focused on, as you're aware now, you go from writing to editing, editing into publishing into marketing your book. What challenges have you come up against?
So I definitely feel most challenged right now in marketing. But along the way, I think for me, writer's block. I went into this with social media. So, but once we got through that, I still was finding bugs and typos here and there that I was able to still go in and fix. It just took reading it quite a bit and getting some different eyes on it that weren't mine, that hadn't been looking at this for years. But my biggest challenge has definitely been marketing so far. I think for me personally, I think it just comes down to I don't have like a marketing background. I don't have a whole lot of experience in that area. And I'm still in the position where I just don't have a budget for it. So it's been a lot of grassroots trial and error. And like I said, the book just came out successful marketing strategy that I've had is those live events for local markets. But yeah, hardest part for me.
Yeah, I think marketing's a real challenge. That's part of why I started 24 Authors in 12 Hours. Is I was challenged during COVID because during that time, you couldn't do the in-person events, and that's how I started this. And I just, really believe authors helping authors is so important. So I definitely feel you on the marketing. Let's talk a little bit about your character development. How did you determine these characters, and did they drive the story, or did you have an outline that was like kind of plotted and then the characters had to follow that kind of storyline, or was it a combination?
We're frozen again. It's frozen up on me again. I apologize.
No problem. Let me ask the question again. So I was saying for your
Sorry.
character, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying for your character development and then your crafting, did you find that you had a plot first and the characters followed it, or did the characters kind of drive what you wrote, or a combination?
And I would say that I developed the main two characters first and built in any side characters as I went along. But I definitely started with the basics of what I wanted the story to be. And then once I hit that point, then I started building um, almost like the bricks, the characters are kind of like pieces. The actual scenes themselves are like pieces for me. So I started with characters, then started with scenes, and then started kind of trying to tie those together into a more fleshed out plot. So it kind of happens a little all at once for me. And I think it might just be that I'm a little bit scatterbrained. So I jump from thing to thing and it seems to work out really well for me that way. I don't get bored. And I kind of can stay on task working on something. I'm able to be productive even when I don't feel as driven, or I don't feel like I have all of that creativity behind me that day. I can still be working on something, and that helps me a lot.
Great. So let's talk about your audience. Who is your intended audience? What kind of age group, demographics, and what do you want them to take away from your writing?
Yeah, so my intended audience is generally going to be that I would say 16, 17 or older age. Looking for, it's going to be probably somebody who's looking for something a little bit darker to read, because this particular book is on the dark side throughout most of it. So I would say what I want them, of course, I want everybody to have a great time just reading. For some individuals like myself, sometimes I just like to pick up a book and read something that's not my reality for a moment. And I think even if someone gets just that from this book, I think that's great. Um, I think as far as the story itself, the story itself, what I'd like people to get out of it is, a deeper understanding of kind of and we find out eventually that that was not actually her fault. But I think as humans, we have a tendency to take things very personally, whether that's taking on blame, whether that's taking an off-color comment that somebody maybe made just in passing or nonchalantly, taking that personally. It's very easy for us to personalize everything to ourselves. And I think that's something people can get out of this is, not everything is necessarily quite the way we see it. And Now, with just the book and the process itself, something else that can come out of it is, this for me was kind of a therapeutic experience, because when I wrote this book, I was quite ill. So for me, the lesson was, I didn't have to just sit back and feel bad for myself. I could do something very productive with my time as soon as I was well enough to do so. And it kind of kept my mind off everything going around. So I think that it's also a testament to those who like writing and reading, that how much of a therapeutic experience it can be. And it really can help you a lot in some dark times.
I think some really great points and lots of takeaways for the readers on this. You mentioned a lot on the marketing, so I kind of want to go back to that point and just really kind of emphasize to anybody who's listening. One of the greatest things that you can do for any author is to write a review, and it's really kind of a gift, because the more reviews you have, then the more people are going to be able to take a look. And so far for your reviews, how are you feeling about your reviews and the feedback? Because that can also be a challenge too if somebody leaves you some feedback that maybe isn't the best, or they give you a critique. So how's that working for you?
I love getting feedback. I've gotten all 5-star ratings, but there's one 3-star in there. But of course, there's no feedback left with that. So, I mean, even on the ones that are not so positive, the ratings that are not so positive, I would love to see written feedback. Just because for me, it's a good gauge, I guess, of kind of, not necessarily one negative review is going to be a good gauge of what the audience is looking for and what people are picking up on. Don't drive everything you do based on the feedback you get in reviews, because at the end of the day, what you're writing is your story, your craft. And unless you're driven 100% by, like 110% by the feedback, um, rather than the craft itself, a lot of what matters is going to be intrinsic to you. However, for me, it's a little mix of both. I definitely want to continually be improving what I'm doing, and I want to write things that people want to read. So I definitely look through those ratings, those reviews, just for ideas, and to see. I got a lot of, I hope she'll write another one to this, or I hope there's a second book coming. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I could work on a second one based on the feedback I get in person and online. So I would say it makes you feel good, but it's also a great tool. So, and of course, on Amazon particularly, it can help with the algorithm and help you boost visibility. So I always am asking anyone I know of that's reading it to hit me up on Amazon, even if it's not 5 stars or something like that. Please just let me know how you felt, because I want that feedback. I crave it.
Okay, great points about feedback. And let's pull that thread a bit more. Book two, is there a book two coming out? Or what is kind of your vision and timeline there? A little bit of a teaser.
So I am very, very, very early into looking at book 2. I'm probably about halfway through chapter 1, so it'll be a little while. But I would share, I did decide to do a book 2 after my sister read it, and was very upset that I didn't put more, that it wasn't longer, I guess I should say. But I also got some feedback from so that people can kind of be abreast of what's going on. Because my timeline is not something I'm able to solidify just yet, because I work in a job that's the schedule is very odd. So when I'm able to write, unfortunately, is it comes and goes, but I do as much as I can.
I think for all authors, it's definitely a challenge for us. And you have a author page, correct? That's the best way for people to find you is on your author page on Facebook?
Yes. So they can find me at Kate Aukes author on Facebook, or I do have a website, kateaukes.com. That are both good places to find me. I'm on pretty much all social media, so I'm fairly findable.
So I'm gonna put your Facebook site out here for readers to find, and they can get copies of Lingering Shadows there. What about any upcoming events? Do you have any live or other online events coming up?
Yes. So I have 2 live events coming up. Both are in Peoria, Illinois. So on the first, I'm going to be at the Peoria Public Library for a local authors book fair. And then on November 15th, I'm at Peoria Book Fest, which is going to be at the Life Together Center in Peoria. So if anybody is familiar with that area or local to that area and is, available that day, we'd love to have you come out and see us. I think there's going to be, I want to say they're looking at 100-ish authors for Book Fest. So they're looking to be pretty big events.
Awesome. So Peoria, Illinois. So I think that we are actually in the same time zone. I always do stuff out of East Coast time, but it always seems to be a bit crazy trying to find everybody. I had some authors earlier today from Australia, and it turned out they did their time zone change, but we didn't hear. So everything's an hour off and crazy today. But always important. So anybody who lives in the Peoria, Illinois area, and how can people get autographed copies of your book?
So the live events are the best way to do that. I would say, though, unfortunately, I don't have a great, a setup for that, just because I'm just getting off the ground. However, if you do purchase a book and you want to reach out to me through Facebook or something, we could always potentially set up, a method to be setting up a better method to do that, especially if there's a larger demand for it as the scale rises.
Yeah, that's always a challenge there.
Yeah.
I do want to just real quick let the audience know that this event, 24 Authors in 12 Hours, is an author helping author event. And the way that we're able to do this is through support by merchandise and by donations. So I'm going to put a link in here for our products. We have really cool things like these coffee mugs and some beer mugs and things like that. So if you are interested in the 24 authors in 12 hours, I can't say that 3 times fast, merchandise, or if you are interested in donating to make sure that we can keep doing this, love supporting the authors out there, because I think Kate really shared it well. It's trying to help people, trying to get the word out, trying to market is a challenge. And one of the challenges with a lot of the in-person events is, they're expensive. So if you have not been involved in this business at all, authors are paying, $50, $100 or more for a table. And so a lot of times they're hoping to break even at those tables. And so I see Kate nodding her head. So, I mean, this is a real thing. So definitely appreciate your being out there supporting this. This is an event that I don't ever want to have to charge for, because I think the goodwill of helping other authors out is super important. It's something I really just believe in so much, is making sure that authors have a platform. And I think that there's something special to connect to an author and hear the behind the scenes story, right? Because you read the book, but to find out, like Kate sharing about what it took for the character development, to know now that you wrote this book when you were personally in a dark space, I think that's such an important thing for the readers to know. What have we not talked about that you want to share with the audience? Because I know that I took you on a journey through this whole thing.
Um, I would say so. I really do think we covered a lot of the things that I think I wanted to cover about this book. So I mean, I just was really excited, to share kind of the journey that I went through in writing this. But it really does just come down to, I started with one piece of one scene. And I think that it's important, to tell anybody out there that is maybe thinking about doing something like this, but not sure where to start, or, not sure what it's going to look like down the line. My biggest thing was getting ahead of myself. So as I was writing, just the first chapter, I was thinking about, oh, how am I going to sell these? It wasn't about that at that time. So, the where to start is just start, it's words on a page is the best way to start. For me, it's almost like I'm an outliner. So I outline, really pretty detailed, pages of what I'm going to be writing. However, words on a page sometimes for me is all it takes, because I may get stumped on my outline and just decide, okay, I'm going to put this aside and I'm just going to start writing a scene, and I can plug it in somewhere. So even if you've written 25 words in a day, that's progress on your goal. Because that's what it was for me some days. It depended on how I felt. It depended on what time I had, what all was going on. But some days it was 25, 50, 100 words maybe, which, in the scheme of things, when you think about I think this is 47,000 words is the book that I ended up with. In the grand scheme of that, it doesn't feel like a lot, and it's percentage wise, it's not, but it's moving in the right direction. So I think that I definitely just want to encourage people, if you're thinking about doing something like this and you've never done it before, the best place to start is by just starting. Anything you put on page, even if it's just putting down any words that come to your head, and then untangle the web later, I think is number one. Yeah, we went over, where to find me, things like that. I mean, the best place to pick up a copy if you're looking for it is going to probably be Amazon. But it is available through Ingram Spark for businesses, and it's available on barnesandnoble.com right now. So, and if you're in the Central Illinois area, there are a couple of bookstores that carry it. So Book Rack in Peoria, Lit on Fire in Peoria, and then there are the Book Barn, and then Ink and Imprint in the area as well that carry it. So, but for those farther out from the Central Illinois area, it's going to be Amazon. Best way to find it is by searching my name. Because if you search Lingering Shadows by title, there are a few others out there. But if you search me by name, there's only 2 authors that I found on Amazon that have the last name Aukes. But it'll come up pretty quickly for you there.
And I put the link here. The link will also be on my website for 24 authors in 12 hours. Besides being broadcast onto YouTube and Facebook, we'll also be moving this over to Spotify in the next week or so. This is wrapping up our Halloween special, 24 authors, 12 hours, month of October edition, focusing on all things spooky, thriller, horror, crime, things that go bump in the night. And so, Kate, I appreciate you being my final author. Wrapping this up, I'm about ready to end the stream for the night. Any last words before we go ahead and hit this end stream button?
Oh, what a unique opportunity. So with it being, 'tis the season for spookiness, get out there. I would encourage, if you're playing with a little bit of money in your pocket, you've seen 24 authors today. That's 24, at least 24 new books to go check out. It's a great additions to your TBR. Which if you're like me, the TBR is longer than you are tall. But I would encourage everybody, authors included. I'm a big proponent of shop local or shop indie authors as well. So just be on the lookout, be open-minded to try something new. I have found some of my favorite books, I would say, just picking up a book by an author I've never heard of. I think, outside the comfort zone, sometimes outside of what you're normal to or what you're used to, can be a great place.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And we are wrapping it up. Our next 24 authors in 12 hours is going to be on December 10th, and we are going to be focusing on all things cozy, kids' books, romance, all the very opposite of what this session was. But wonderful to hear from so many different authors. And with this, we're going to call it a night.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.